UFC 5. Let's get ready to the review. The biggest mixed martial arts organization in the world is back again as the Ultimate Fighting Championship, and the EA Sports brings sports fans UFC 5. Expect to be the start of the next generation of MMA games. UFC 5 feels very much the same as its predecessor, leaving us feeling like we are paying full price for the same product that graces our consoles and the PC 3 years ago. The game visual components still leave a bit to be desired, and its career mode lacks any real substance to drive you in. It will be considered at best down from Step Up UFC 4 per se, but it certainly does feel like a significant step forward either. UFC 5 is the latest annual release from the MMA Giant that features an updated cast of the company's best stars and some new features, as the doctor stoppages and additional elements of the realism to the title. The game modes have expanded to offer more challenges to the players, such as fight contracts, which challenge you to win randomly generated fights across all over the game's difficulty for prizes, obviously. And as expected, there is a career mode, both offline and online, that enables you to begin your own journey towards UFC immortality with a player-created character. Speaking of online mode, there is also a multitude of different game modes to choose from to suit different playstyles and offer some variety in online combat opportunities. Something that UFC 5 does particularly well is promote greater realism to give players a more in-depth sense of what it's like to be locked in the cage with another athlete looking to beat the living daylights of them. While it can be a little frustrating, stamina management is one of the facets of the game that saw the most noticeable improvement, as it deters you from being able to throw the barrage on the heavy strikes without any consequences. You have a fight smart pick-up shots or risk being punished for poor energy management or a sloppy stand-up strategy. The biggest improvement that UFC made to their latest title was the submission mechanics, since the first UFC game, talking a fight to the ground has been a significant thorn in the side of the players, particularly those who are defending. While it's still not a completely polished system, it's far more user-friendly than its predecessors, and at least gives you a fighting chance of making an escape of picking up the win with a trap. It's a stark contrast to older gamers that essentially signed your death warrant the moment the fight was taken to the ground. While it's a waste of improvement, UFC 5 is still going to be played as a kickboxing game by the majority of its players, because base except for those who have the Midas touch with games with the grappling. While on the surface, UFC 5 could be considered fairly impressive visually, a closer look at the games has us scratching our heads. While it's not overly bad, and there is a genuine attempt to make the games as realistic as possible, something about the fighter appearances just feels off. Even the create a fighter section, many of the head templates look unnatural. Of course, this isn't a beauty contest, and you'll generally not be in punch in the face business if you want to keep your dashing looks, but some of the rough head proportions a bit much. On the top of the created fighter options, some of the basic graphics simply fail to hit the target, particularly championship, belts, and body movement in the clothes. Belts continue disproportionately big a set of the shoulders of the champions with an odd stiffness. Additionally, the movement of the muscles under the shirts often looks strange and generally does not reflect the body shape of the fighter wearing it. It results in some of the fighters having unusually shaped chest when wearing a shirt. The career mode is pretty predictable and doesn't feel particularly different from the one before. You can create your fighter and have an immersive debut. Get yourself unconscious series, then boom in UFC in a headbeat, working your way toward the title, which is pretty much how you expect the journey to go. EA could have easily done a captivating career mode that had your fighter earn their UFC contract by being the ultimate fighter. A house full of rivals to contend with a couple of the UFC pros as coaches. that would have the potential to really kick off with rivalries, dramas, and genuine story you got engrossed in. While the new features on UFC 5 increase the game depth to make it best title in franchise story, the doctor stoppage inclusion is excessive. UFC fans are actually aware of how rare it's doctors to get involved in a fight. Some events will have no involvement at all. And yet I found myself interrupted by the doctors 4 times in the space of 5 lives. While it adds a new way to win or lose a fight, doctors won't be involved in every strike-heavy fight, so EA could definitely benefit from tonight that down. UFC 5 manages to tick all the boxes of a decent fighting simulation game, but given the size of EA and the UFC brands, expectations were far higher that this game would take MMA to a whole new level digitally. Instead, we've been presented with the products that feel like a system update with a hefty price tag. It's a good fun to play with your friends and beat your friends' favorite fighters, but don't be a memorable title from 2023. And while it ticks all of the boxes for a decent MMA fighting simulator, UFC 5 fails to improve by any significant margin from its precedent. It will enable you to play as favorite fighters in the organization, but will not be a memorable title from the 2023, which is not interested, and it's kinda bad for the UFC and EA, because they are starting on that, manufacturing those fast food games. Look at EAFC 24 right now. Yeah, they made minor improvements to the gameplay, but they say that it's a major improvements to the gameplay, which is obviously a lie, but nevertheless, thank you for watching this UFC 5 review. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Peace.